The Fun Never Ends is one of the many chapters in the Muffin saga. In this chapter, Twilight, Rarity, and Fluttershy eventually find Pinky's secret underground basement. Unfortunately for them, the Bakers knew they were coming and trapped them down here. After the whole ordeal, Rarity was unfortunately killed by the Bakers, and Fluttershy managed to escape. The Bakers tried to catch her, but they failed, and the Pie sisters were arrested by the police shortly after. After the incident, Rarity was found dead on the spot. She had been decapitated and her head laid inches away from her body. However, Twilight and Fluttershy were a completely different story. They had managed to survive, but they suffered minor injuries and were immediately rushed to the hospital. Fluttershy had to stay at the hospital for a few months to recover. She had scratches and bruises all over her, and one of her eyes was missing, so she had to wear an eye patch in its place. And there was also a small patch on her flank from where her cutie mark was. But Twilight was a different story altogether. As it turns out, when the police found her, she was curled up in a ball crying. It looked like she had lost her mind. And because of her bad condition, she had to be sent to a mental hospital. Fluttershy went to go visit her along with Spike and Princess Celesta, and what they saw was truly horrifying. Twilight was moving back and forth, and she was bound tightly in a straitjacket. Her broken horn was bandaged up, but she was still in very bad shape. Fluttershy couldn't stand seeing her friend like this, so she left the hospital to go home. As she was walking home, she ran into Babs Seed, who takes her to Sugarcube Corner. Upon entering the bakery, Fluttershy realizes that it's very dark and it looked like the place was abandoned. However, she would soon realize that this wasn't the case. Fluttershy heard a familiar voice from behind her. She turned around and was met with a horrifying sight. All the Bakers were here, including the Pie sisters. But how could this be? Fluttershy thought. They had been arrested. She couldn't take it anymore and immediately passed out. The last thing she saw before blacking out were the Bakers' smiling faces.